What's happening, people? Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Welcome to another episode of NY Giants Rush, where we talk about Giants football 52 weeks of the year. We're glad that you're hanging out with us, but nothing to be happy about. Maybe some things, but the Giants do lose 25-33 against Philadelphia Eagles, who are now in first place in the NFC East. And they lose, in Philadelphia, which is always a tough place to play. We're gonna chat it up and talk about pretty much soup to nuts. We'll see what you guys want to talk about. See you guys piling in the room. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. I got Chris in the background. We're gonna get him in here. Plenty to discuss. Where do the Giants go from here? And I'm sure you guys have been pinging me about sports gambling and a tweet that I put out earlier today. Let's bring in Nails. Chris, what's happening?
Hey, Craig. Hey, everybody.
Merry Christmas, my friend.
Merry Christmas to you, and hope everybody had a great holiday.
Yeah. I hope everybody had a great holiday. I see you guys all piling in the rooms. A bunch of you guys in here cranking it up. Shawnee B's in the room. I see Joe. I see a bunch of you guys coming in. Definitely. Good evening. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us. Plenty to talk about, Chris. Let's start off real simple. Let's do the what I would call, inside the numbers, right? If I had to do one of these things, I would do it like this. I would say inside the numbers, and then I would do that, and then I would do that. Inside the numbers, right? Okay, that's what makes us pros. All right, inside the numbers, Chris.
Yes.
The Giants start off. By the way, you sound crystal clear. You sound so good today.
Yeah, well, it took a lot of ribbing from guys like Cold and Tudo to get that microphone working.
No, it's all good.
My microphone. Good.
Man.
All right.
It's all good. All right, so
all right, cool.
Giants lose 25-33 in a hard-fought battle. DeVito did not have his best day. Went for 9 for 16 for 55 yards, which is really, has not been his MO, right? He's never been blazing the roof off the building, but he's never gone 55 yards, right? Taylor comes in. Taylor also goes roughly the same amount of completions and attempts, 7 for 16, but he has 133 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Saquon Barkley, pretty nice day. Nothing crazy, but nice day. 23 attempts, 80 yards. That's only 3.5 yards a carry. And had 1 touchdown and a 2-point conversion, if I'm not mistaken. But didn't show up in the box score. All right. Darius Slayton is the number 1 receiver for the Giants, which is very unique, Chris, because he had 3 targets and 3 receptions for 90 yards and a touchdown. That's very interesting. We'll get to that a little bit later. And then behind him would be Bellinger. 4 receptions, 43 yards on 5 targets. Waller, 2 receptions, 32 yards on 5 targets. Robinson, 3 receptions on 16 yards for 7 targets. Let's start at the top and work our way down. I see you guys piling in the room. Hey, Jake, what's up? Hey, what's up, Cold? See you guys coming in. All right, let's talk to Vito. Didn't seem like he had a strong game. Maybe he was a little bit off. Definitely holding the ball a little bit long. I don't know. Was it game plan? Was it DeVito? Like, nothing seemed to click when they started this game.
Yeah, I seem to think, DeVito's come back down to earth, and he's, he is what we kind of thought he would be, from the early going when he first started playing this season when he got out there. I mean, you see guys, he does miss guys downfield. He's an undrafted free agent. He's going through, the processing. The game's fast, but you saw when Taylor got in there, just things moved a little bit more fluid. There was more moving down the field. It's kind of like they're stuck in mud sometimes with DeVito. He does a great job not turning the ball over, but I just think going downfield, you can see the difference between a Tyrod Taylor and a DeVito. Yeah,
and I do like the fact that Tyrod's not afraid to throw a window. You know what I mean? Like he sees the window. He's got no problems. Tommy Ten's like, I don't know if I can hit that throw. He holds it. He's either getting sacked or he's running and throwing the ball out of bounds. I love the fact he doesn't turn the ball over. But again, when you're a 5-6 win team, you need to take some chances.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah, you don't feel like he takes enough chances. And maybe he's afraid. He doesn't want to throw interceptions, and he's on a short leash. You know.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed, with the game plan. Once again, I still feel like, we're playing some conservative ball, and as the game went on, Chris, we're all watching the game about, being more creative with Barkley. They were having success in the A gap, which is, to the right and the left of the center. They were having success up the field. And then they have the success with them up the center, and then they start going outside and they just can't get any push, on the outside, right? And then they abandon running inside, hence the 3.5 yards per carry for Barkley. What did you see out of Barkley? Were you happy with what you saw? Are you still in the same boat as I am where they're not creative enough with them?
Yeah, they're not creative enough. I mean, I expected more. You're right about running on the outside. They were through the A gap and inside the middle. You saw them get some nice chunks. I felt like sticking with that. I thought Schmitz played a pretty good game overall, but I do wish we had a fullback. I mean, they put Glowinski in there, which kind of he's not really a fullback, and he goes in motion, does these things, and you can just forget about him. But I feel like just more creativity, but. I mean, Barkley did it right. He did okay. They should have just gone with what was working, which was going up the middle a little more. The edge was just.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting point, and it's a great segue. Did you watch by any chance the San Francisco game?
Oh, I watched up until like the fourth quarter. Yeah, with both fullbacks. It's nice to see two fullbacks in a game.
You just read my mind.
Sorry.
So I watched the second game. And they're running the fullback. And I know McCaffrey is a stud, and I know, the Ravens can basically
recharge. Yeah.
Yeah. They and Lamar, right? I mean, they've got, 2-3 bodies that can churn out yards, but two teams with a fullback. And I'm just like, it seems to make a difference on getting up in that hole.
Yep.
And getting to the second level. And I know we haven't had great fullbacks, but we had Eli Penny for a bunch of years. And
right.
I don't know, like it just
he was a tweener. Yeah.
Yeah. That we've abandoned it and it could help us.
I agree. And, I've been saying this for years, and I know the NFL's changed. There's only a handful of teams that have a fullback, maybe 5 or 6, and then they use the H-back and they put other guys back there. But if you look at the Giant history, what's the identity of this team? The identity of this team is still a running team. I mean, that's why I view the Giant football as still a power-type team, especially with Jones. But when you look at the history of the Giants, I know we're changing, over different years and things have changed in the NFL. But when you have, guys like Kamela, Charles Way, Hanoski, Hedgecock, I mean, those best years for Tiki Barber and Brandon Jacobs and Bradshaw was when we had a fullback. And take notice, Shanahan runs a West Coast offense, but he's so creative with the West Coast offense, he's still able to use Juszczyk and get him involved. I mean, I'd love for the Giants to have a fullback and use an athletic fullback out of the backfield like they do with Richard and Juszczyk. That would be fantastic, and it would help Barkley too.
Yeah, I really do think it would. Because again, we're not having any luck, throwing the ball, and we've got this monster of a guy who, again, okay, yes, he's not a monster anymore. So let me take that back. Barkley's still a top 5, top 7 back that can get things done, but we know he's a home run hitter, right? So let's hit some home runs. You know what I mean? Like, let's hit some home runs and get somebody out there blocking in front of him. It's very hard to watch because the running game, again, I know 3.5 yards a carry isn't great, but I bet it's 4.5 yards a carry with a fullback in front of him. I mean, he's constantly, just being dragged down, which is a segue for me, Chris, is a perfect example. It's 4th and 2 feet. It's not even a full yard. It's 4th and 2 feet, and we're going for it, and we won't even quarterback sneak. We hand the ball off. No one blocks the defensive end, and he comes in and makes a play in the backfield, and it's the encompass of the entire Giant season on one play. We never do the small things right. We never do the extra. I feel like I got a team full of guys worried about their brand and their socials. And like, where's the football players? Where's the dogs? Right? Like, that defensive end. we missed the defensive end to the side the ball was going to. It wasn't even the weak side, Chris. It wasn't like we ran left and the defensive end or the linebacker caught him from behind in the backfield. He just came right in and almost hit him upon the handoff.
Yeah.
The plane stood no chance. So I'm like, okay, is this – we know it's a combination of stuff, but like, yeah, hey, Tuto, see you in the room. Hey, Mark B, what's happening? See you guys jumping in here. See you all, you guys piling in. Thanks for tuning in. So, like, Chris, like, talk to me. Help me out. Like, is this that the line just sucks? Because Bellinger definitely was blocking down. Did he miss an assignment? And by the way,
I think he did.
Okay, so let's just say he misses the assignment. Is Bellinger really going to be able to handle, this outside linebacker all by himself? Like, I don't know. Like, Bellinger's like a really good blocker and a big, strong dude. But like, there had to be a better blocking scheme than one-on-one with your tight end.
Yeah.
And then and then he misses the assignment and he gets hit in the backfield. Why couldn't we quarterback sneak? Every team in the NFL can quarterback sneak for 2 feet.
Yeah, I say it all the time, right? Put the fullback in there or get a full. If you're going to use Glowinski, just let him power it through. They know it's going to Barkley anyway. Or even if they have Glowinski lined up in the fullback, maybe a play action even, right? And because with Glowinski's in the game at fullback, I think odds are everybody knows it's going to Barkley. But that's where the creativity comes into play. If you're going to use Glowinski in the backfield, at least let him block for a first down.
Well, so here's what's really interesting. This is great conversation. They're I don't want to call them pussies, but they're too soft because they're linemen. When they're the nastiest? When they can't take a step. Right? They're in here, right? Hey, Joe, thanks for tuning in. Like, Joe, you can't expect a 300-pound lineman to get out of a stance and get running full speed out of lineman and make a block. They're not nimble enough. They're not agile enough. They don't have that skill set, right? It's at a minimum, it's a tight end in the H-back position or a fullback who knows how to get up in the hole and put at what we would call a hat on a hat, right? Like, you can't expect Glowinski to blow open a hole because he doesn't do anything full speed, right? Think about from when he's blocking by going horizontal, right? And he's stabbing and he's picking up stunts if that actually happens. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't expect a guard to do that.
I know, but when you're talking about picking up a yard and a hat on a hat, you'd think that would be better served than, you'd get more times than not get that first down than Barkley just running it on his own, just because the offensive line up front isn't as strong. I mean, in the middle.
I would go as far as to put Breida in the game and let Breida block. Send Barkley and Breida up the hole for 2 feet. I mean, you're not talking about a yard. You're talking about 2 feet, 24 inches. So that is very hard to swallow. Right now, how, that first half was just, very difficult to watch, right?
20-3. Yeah.
Yes. 20-3. And you're sitting there thinking, well, we kind of expected this, right? Let's talk about the wide receivers for this moment. I'm checking you guys out. If you have anything here in the comments you want us to talk about, make sure you drop it in here. I see all you guys. And again, Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year. Glad you guys are tuning in. So this is what kind of interests me, Chris. Inside the numbers, right? We're talking about what we've done all year has been primarily forcing the ball to Waller, right? And then as the season went on, it was let's get the ball to Robinson, and then sporadically get the ball to Slayton, and then somehow we'll ignore Hyatt most of the time, and then get desperate and throw him no, not as a fullback, Cold, just to put two backs in the backfield to get some push in a short yardage, just to see if you can get more of a yardage. Not as a fullback, just somehow to push the part. If you watch the Eagles do their tush push, right? They bring AJ Brown in there. They go off tackle. They just bring bodies in for pushing from behind. So if Breida was in there, Breida could just push from behind. But no, not as a fullback. And then we've ignored Hodgins, right? So I'll pop this up on here. Sean's been saying this for weeks with me. The wide receiver rotation continues to baffle me. So here's my thing, Chris. Darius Slayton has only 3 targets in the whole game. He catches 3, right? 90 yards and a touchdown. Like, we can hate on Slayton all we want, but there's no reason why this guy doesn't get more targets. Like, we're forcing the ball to Wan'Dale. Now, I like Wan'Dale. He's proven me wrong once again. I've eaten a lot of crow on it, right? But again, he's still kind of a trick play guy, right? He's still like a slip, a slide underneath the linebacker guy, right? He's not a number 1. He's barely a number 2. I mean, here's look. Robinson had 7 targets, Chris.
Yep.
7 targets, 3 catches for 16 yards.
16 yards, yeah.
So is that because we don't have a quarterback? Or is it that, like, hey, we're walking down this guy because he's not a number 1. He doesn't have the size or he doesn't have the speed.
I think the first half we saw DeVito only throwing 55 yards. A lot had to do with the quarterback, because in the second half we just saw an offense that was able to move down the field, a few times, and it seems like with DeVito you couldn't do that. So I think I'm resting that more on the quarterback. I think not that I wanted Tyrod Taylor to start the game. I think DeVito was the right choice. He deserved it. But I think if we had Tyrod Taylor start the game, it probably would have been, more spread around and better yards all across the board, and wouldn't have been just Slayton. But I think you just saw a veteran run the offense much better in the second half with Taylor.
Yeah, Tyrod looked great, and what I was alluding to was, like, last year it was Slayton, Hodgins, and Richie James. I just don't see why there isn't more opportunity for Slayton. Again, you're right. Slayton's a 3 or a 4.
Yeah, exactly, Sean.
You're right. So. And unfortunately, he has to be a 1 here, right? I get it, Sean. You're right on. I'm only making the point. I'm like, if that's all we got, why don't we throw him the ball? Like, because we're, again, nothing against Robinson, but I'm trying to, in my head, go back over the passes. I mean, three catches for 16 yards, because he doesn't catch anything far down the field. He's too much in the flat, outside the hashes, or underneath the linebackers. Like, maybe they need and it could be a Kafka thing.
Yeah.
But, like, Robinson's not in space enough.
Yeah, he had a nice opportunity late in the game. We saw that flag. It should have no call, right? That was definitely a flag. I mean, he took a shot with him there, so that could have been a catch, but horrible non-call on that one. But they were going to him, which was good.
All right, let's talk about Waller. We've been forcing the ball at this guy because he's supposed to be the big threat, and we are so excited to have him here. Every single one of us signed off on it, right? We were all like, this is exactly what we need. It's the 3rd year, not the first, not the second, the 3rd year in a row, Chris. He's been injury-prone, has not played, barely any football. Had a couple drops yesterday. Comes up with, two receptions for 32 yards. Is Waller, like, I mean, I'd have to go look at Sport Track and look at his contract, but, like, is Waller guy you want around? I'm not seeing it, and he looks slow.
Yeah, well, remember, he's still coming back from the hamstring. He's probably not 100%. He made a great catch, and he also probably had a touchdown if Taylor would have hit him, in stride there, and terrible throw behind him. Yeah.
Terrible throw.
So, I want him back. You can't get rid of everybody. I mean, you just hope next year he comes back healthy, and we see the Waller from a couple years ago. We see glimpses, but once again, between the offensive line and the quarterback situation, I'm willing to just write this one off this year, and hopefully next year we see something different from him. But yeah, I want him back.
I'm with Mark B here. I'm throwing Mark's comment up here. He's a disappointment for me, not because we got hurt, but, like, yesterday they threw him a ball, hit him in the hands, he dropped it. Like, like, you can't be making that kind of money, be that big, that strong, that fast, and drop balls. Like, dropping balls, is for the 15th ranked tight end, not the 3rd or 4th best tight end in the game.
Agree.
And then when I go back to back injuries, like, he's just not reliable. I got issues with that on the money he's making. I want him to be catching. You got to catch everything. And the Giants don't have anyone that catches everything. And he was supposed to be the guy that would catch everything.
Yeah, I got to look at his contract. I mean, his next year $7 million. I forget what he makes next year. Not sure what he's making next year. But yeah, I mean, once again, we're so annoyed with this offense and frustrated. You got to keep some guys, right? We want to write off everybody, but we have to come back with a few guys. Between the offensive line and these other receivers, there's going to be a big change. There definitely will be.
And we missed out on a great tight end class. Like, did you watch Likely yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, right? Or you're
Purnam,
watching
Purnam.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Sam Laporta.
Laporta.
I'm like, this is not happening right now. We could have drafted any of those guys, or we could be throwing the ball at Bellinger. Bellinger was our second leading receiver yesterday. 5 targets, 4 receptions, 43 yards. When you throw him the ball, he does good things.
Yeah,
it's I'm frustrated with. Yeah, I don't get it because when we're backs against the wall, we're going back to Bellinger and we're going to Slayton, right? I mean, like the guys that we had last year. Our backs against the wall, we go to the same guys that produced last year. And then when we're feeling cocky, we're making this about Robinson. And again, Wandale is a nice piece, but we can't rely on him, right? Yeah, and Cole's got a great point. Like here's, Hodgins is a milk carton this year. Like it's true. It's funny, but it's true. And I'm not saying the guy's a number, but the guy could be a really good 2. The guy could be a really good 3, and we don't throw him the ball. But what we have isn't working.
Yeah, when you look at Hodgins, I mean, you see a great route runner. He's physical, and he gets open. All right, so he doesn't have the separation type speed, but he's always available, right? He's always there to make the play. And, yeah, you're right, Cole. He is missing this year. We don't see much.
Yeah, so I'm going back to what Spartan said last year. Like, I don't care what happens. I'm over Kafka. Let him go be successful somewhere else. Like, and I'll say it again, and I won't drone on about it, but I've tweeted about it. Look what happened with the Buffalo Bills firing Ken Dorsey. Since November 14th, they're on fire. Cook is running the football because the offensive coordinator sees value in running the ball. Josh Allen is throwing touchdowns all over the map now because the coordinator they had was too conservative, and and everybody wrote Buffalo off. They fired the OC, and now they're one of the hottest teams in football, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, we're going to be loyal and hold on to Kafka. That's fine. Kafka's a big issue right now on why this offense is so stagnant. Talk to me about again, we're kind of going to throw this in the center before we move to the defense real fast. I'm on board with, after watching Tyrod succeed, it just tells me more the Giants need to draft the QB. Your thoughts?
My thoughts? Yeah. Well, if they need to draft the quarterback if they have conviction in that guy. If they're at number 1, if they're in the first round, number 8, wherever they're going to pick 9, 7, I just don't want them to reach for somebody they just because they get a quarterback. If they have conviction about a guy, go move up and get him. We saw that with Eli Manning, or not Eli, with Phillip Rivers when they or with Eli too, when they moved up and they took when they did make the trade, obviously with Rivers to get Eli, they gave away ones. But if they have conviction, then go get him. But just don't settle on a guy that they're not all sold on. I want them to be 100% invested in the guy, whoever that may be, whether it's Daniels, May, whoever it is. But be invested. If not, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
I'd rather see him draft the guy that falls to the second round. We have 2 second-round picks. I'd rather them, maybe if a Penix falls to the second round, maybe it's worth then at that point to pull the trigger on a second round on Penix. Don't forget, you get the other second rounder from Seattle, so there's your guard. Could walk away with a quarterback and a guard in that second round.
Yeah, and it's a really good point, Chris, because I like Penix a whole lot. I mean, I think he's actually the most talented guy in the draft from a QB. I'm not talking about running around, playing schoolyard ball like Williams does. I'm talking about quarterback, getting the job done, throwing the ball, reading the defense. I mean, Penix is the most talented cat out there. The injury list is tough. If he drops to the second or later in the first, maybe you trade out of the first and then trade back into the first at the end for Penix.
At the end,
because we can't rely on Jones as much as I want to give him as much opportunity. It's an ACL, it's a neck injury,
2 necks,
right? Yeah, 2 neck injuries. We just can't do it anymore, right? I'm not saying that let him compete. DeVito can come back and be the backup quarterback, right? If he has to be, or start the season, I don't care for a game or 2. Jones could be there, to help the new quarterback. It's just we whether we overpaid him or not. All these QBs are going to get 36 to 46 million. It's the going rate. The end of the day, the Giants need to find a quarterback because whether it's not reading the defense, whether it's Chris, as you said before, not scanning the field, not looking off receivers, you know, whether knowing when to run, when to not run. I mean, I'm watching. Like I can't get over how good, how like Purdy, you know, has a terrible game and he's still in the MVP run, right? Like with Lamar Jackson and Christian McCaffrey. Yeah.
But I will say, Craig, that interior line, man, the 2 guard positions have to be addressed. Whether it's a free agent for one, a solid veteran, and then go get that guard in the second round, you know, one of the top 2 guards that might be up there in the second round. Because whoever they pick, that quarterback needs to be able to step up in the pocket. I mean, we've seen these, you know, these blitzes coming up the middle by the defense, whether it's on a run or a pass, these run blitzes. I feel like the quarterback has got to be able to step up, and he can't do that with this offensive line. And obviously, you know, Neil will be a big conversation next year with the new offensive line coach, because I really anticipate a new offensive line coach.
Listen, we're storming the castle. Yeah. If Bobby Johnson has his job,
right?
You know,
I agree.
And like, so listen, you know, I hope all you folks had a great holiday. I had a ton of family at the house yesterday, Chris, and my dad's. And I'm trying to explain to them this very simply. My 82-year-old dad, right? He's been a Giant season ticket holder forever, and then they passed him on to me, right?
God bless. Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, you know, my pops is good people. But what's funny is, you know, and salute to yours, by the way, right? I'm sure he's looking down, going like this. Oh my God.
Yeah. For sure.
You know, I said to him, I said, you know, Dad, I know we're all hating on Evan Neal, right? But 32, how do 32 teams miss on this guy? 32 teams. Like, you could say we missed on Jones and half the NFL thought the guy was a bum, right? But 32 teams said Evan Neal is a top 5 draft pick. How are 32 teams wrong? So I said to my dad, I said, Dad, you know, there's no coaching. You're not coaching these guys up. They think that they're plug and play, and they're not in the NFL. And you plugged him in and he can't play. So, and he's like, yeah, he's like, and I said, and the biggest issue is Dallas whoops our butt game 1, 40 points. And what do they do all game? Twists. All game long. Twists. So what does the rest of the NFL do? They watch that game film and they realize the Giants can't pick up the twist.
And that's been going on for years, Craig. That's been going on since we had Will Hernandez. That was the talk. Couldn't pick up twists and stunts.
Yes, 100%. Now it's like a thing, right? Everybody's watching the game tape going, oh my God, one guy goes into B, one guy goes into C. They cannot pick it up. They cannot pick it up. What are you going to do with a team who can't pick up stunts? The rest of the NFL's watching game film. And my dad's like, oh, is that what you call it? He's like, I've been watching this for weeks where one guy loops around the other guy. I'm like, there you go.
Yeah, your 82-year-old dad is noticing that.
And what kills me is that I love all you folks, and I hope you guys, you know, help us make it big someday, so we can pay back to all you guys that are here every single week. But a couple guys from Jersey, a couple guys from New York, Virginia, a couple guys from Florida, Georgia, West Virginia, wherever. How do we see it, Chris? And how do they not? It's mind blowing. Everybody knows the stunt against the Giants to run a twist, and how are they ignoring it?
I don't know.
Chris, you literally just need to sit in one film session to see the fact. We're all watching the all 22. Everybody can see it. How does the New York Giants and Dable, for that matter, okay, and Dable for that matter, how does Brian Dable say, Bobby, you got to go?
Yeah. I mean, I chalk it up also to the revolving door at the guard positions with chemistry and also at the tackle position. That plays probably a part. But I'm with you. I mean, at this level, these guys should be able to reach their ceiling. I mean, that's what they're here for. There's a ceiling. And none of these guys, other than Thomas, and I give the credit to Andrew Thomas alone for reaching his, potential on his own. I mean, these guys haven't improved on their own. You saw Tyree Phillips, who came back from Philadelphia, being there a couple months, and he's improved. So he had 2 months with Stoutland, their offensive line coach, who made an impression with him and actually came back and has played well. So imagine that. You could see the difference right there. with a teacher. They need a teacher. Maybe that's the problem. Bobby Johnson might be a rah-rah guy, might be a great guy, loves his offensive linemen, gives them nicknames, but maybe he's just not a teacher.
Yeah. Yeah, Darius says, hear me pop Darius's comment up on here. Says the Saints knew they were going to run stunts, and we knew it too, and still couldn't stop them. Yeah, the Saints were like this. Hey, Bredesen, we're going to stunt here. I'm coming through the C gap, and Jackson's coming through the B gap. Just wanted to let you know what we're doing, and you still can't stop it. I mean,
and they only had 23 sacks going into that game. Saints only had 23 sacks.
Yeah. We lead the league in sacks given up. I think the number's 76. It's embarrassing. Outwardly embarrassing. Now, yesterday, we only gave up 1 sack. But the pressure is there.
Pressure is there, yeah.
The offense is going to need to change. Listen, Aaron Donald is no slouch, and he will be in the backfield on a regular basis this coming Sunday. So, it's not going to get any better, right? All right. Let's switch over to something, Chris, that I'm trying to wrap my arm around it, and maybe it's because there were, back to inside the numbers, there were 63 offensive snaps and 75 defensive snaps. Of course, the team is on the field. The defense is on the field a whole lot because you can't stop them. We talked about how bad the defense looked against the Saints. The defense did look better against the Eagles. Of course, you get some help from, a pick six or whatever you want to call it, a pick down to the 1 yard line, right? A pick six and then 2-point conversion. Excuse me.
Kickoff return. Yep, and a kickoff return fumble. Yeah.
And a kickoff return fumble. So you got some help from some specials and some D. But the defense, though, still doesn't look like it did during the win streak, right? I'll go inside the numbers with you here. Like, where's the rest of the team? Bobby Okereke literally makes every tackle on the field. Okay? 10 tackles, 8 solo. McKinney somehow, his agent has convinced him to play. And each week now, McKinney is the second leading tackler. 10 tackles, 7 solo, and a half a sack. And then Banks, Pinnock, and McFadden, combined for 18 tackles, right? So, but the tackling wasn't great yesterday. They gave up, Chris, 170 yards rushing. Like, what do you do? What do we do? We can't give up 170 yards rushing. So how does, is it, again, scheme? Robinson getting beat a lot. I don't know. What happened with the defense yesterday? I'm hoping that that there is a key, that's something that hasn't been happening. But tell me what you think.
Well, I don't think they didn't. What was the rushing yards for Philadelphia? Swift had 92. He was under 100 yards. They, as a team, they rushed for 130. 100. Yeah, they did. It was like by committee. But a lot of missed tackles. You saw a lot of missed tackles yesterday. A lot of missed tackles. And I think, up the middle, still an issue. I think Leonard Williams has hurt them a little bit. The double teaming on decks a little bit. But I think the missed tackles has been a major issue the past few weeks.
So I'm going to put this up here because this is an interesting comment, because I think this is the problem with the NFL. Juan says, this may rub people the wrong way, but I see the Giants as a soft team. There is a little bit of that, that on occasion, I do believe, Juan, that there isn't a lot of dogs on the team. There isn't a lot of guys that will sacrifice to make the play, right? They're like, I watched. Did you watch Ojulari let Hurts run by him, and then he jogged behind the play as Hurts ran down the sideline?
Yeah, I did. I look bad optics on that one. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I would not let him get back on the field. He literally was like this. I think I was supposed to tackle that guy.
Yeah. That was bad.
Yeah. So, and we're going to get back to that in a second, because we're going to get through the defense. We're going to talk about the overall game, because I have a thought, and I want to get your thought, Chris, on the game itself. The game has changed. I don't like it. And I don't want to be an old head, but the game has just changed, and we'll get into why. So, yeah, I mean, defense is on the field, 75 snaps. It's, it's a high amount. Bad tackling, right?
Yep.
But, Chris, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Don't cry when I tell you this. Cordell Flott, Azeez Ojulari, and Kayvon Thibodeaux combined for 2 tackles in the entire game. What else can I say when you're starting nickel, slot corner, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah.
And you're starting defensive ends combined for a tackle. Flott had 1 tackle. Ojulari had 1 tackle. It's freaking embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I'm not sitting here any longer and saying that Ojulari and Kayvon Thibodeaux aren't part-time players. They're part-time players. They're package players. You put them in on 3rd down and let them rush. They don't play the rest of the game. They don't make plays.
Who are you saying that is? Ojulari, and who was the other one? Thibodeaux you're talking about?
Yeah, Thibodeaux. They don't make plays, Chris.
No, I know, but you can't put a guy that's top 5 in the draft coming in on passing downs. But yeah, it sucks. He's
so you let them rush for 170 yards and
run by terrible. No, not good. You see these guys go invisible. Like you see Thibodeaux light it up for a few games, and then it's just like a total drop off. You don't see much to follow at all. Anything. There's not even like a progression. It's just like done. Ojulari same way. Either like he's an eye-opening game, and then the next game he goes invisible. And you see that with a few players. They just go from one extreme to the other in terms of tackles and playmaking.
Yeah, Sean, I get you. Look, I'll pop Sean's up on it. He's got a valid point. The Eagles line is all very good. If not it's one of the best. I get it. But 1 freaking tackle, it's not even possible. I mean, like these are it's back to Juan's comment that he made a couple minutes ago. Like, where are the dogs? Make some plays, knock somebody out, make a tackle, come down the line of scrimmage. The team, our defensive ends are both soft. Kayvon Thibodeaux is soft. He's worried about his brand and the overalls and the hat that he's going to wear, right? And Ojulari, he just shows up like once or twice a year. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. We need a defense that can play freaking defense, not 1/3 the year. And all you guys are going to say, I'm crazy. Oh, Kayvon's the best. We got wearing number 5 jerseys. The guy doesn't do very much.
Greg, I just think he has drop-offs. Like, you see games where like, all right, this is it. This is the guy we expected. And it goes on for a few games. But then it's not even like a game where he's like, he had an okay game. He played good. He played well. Nothing crazy, but he played well. It goes to the other extreme where, oh my God, I haven't even seen him do anything all day. And that's the problem. It goes from 2 extremes. I'd rather see steady play than just one extreme to the next. Like, just let us, like, I just want to be consistent. Like Bobby Okereke. He's consistent. He's consistent every week. And that's, I think, what us Giant fans or me are calling for, is just for guys like Ojulari, Thibodeaux to just be consistent.
Yeah. Like the team needs him. And I understand Shoney says it's only his 2nd year. It doesn't matter. You're looking for effort. You can't, on this team, on the New York Giants, you can't have the starting left and right defensive end, or outside linebacker, have no tackles. They rushed for 170 yards. You could have made a tackle 10 yards downfield.
Yeah. And it kills when you're in 3rd and 20 and Wink drops 5 guys in coverage and he doesn't rush anybody. That was a backbreaker too. The 3rd and 20 where Hurts hit the I forgot who he hit. It was it was like their 3rd receiver. I forget who the name was, but it was like their 3rd receiver on the 3rd and 20.
Yeah,
that doesn't help either. Wink's dropping 5 back, and Thibodeaux is not even on there. I mean, that would be a play to get Thibodeaux in there to rush, Hurts. But that kind of stuff doesn't help either. Very mind-boggling calls yesterday too with Wink.
Let me throw Colt's comment up here. It says, I said it before, I'll say it again. The knock on him coming out was he takes plays off. Why are we surprised? You know what, Cole? I keep telling myself I guess why I'm surprised is because what Chris said. Like, he has like 2 games where you're like, all right, he's figured it out. Because he has some, like, I've seen him sack the quarterback with an inside pass rush, which you never see guys do. It's always it's a bull rush. It's a swim move. It's to the outside. I mean, he's got so much talent, but and I understand Sean, he's telling me that it's only year 2. Year 2, he should be doing better than year 1. Like, he should be getting better, not worse. Like, you have to play the run and the pass. And he needs on this team. Hey, what's up, Sarah? Thanks for checking in. All I'm saying is the New York Giants are depending on a first-round draft pick to be there week in and week out.
Listen, his claim is the pass rush. He's a good pass rush, and he has, what, 11 sacks? Is that what he's at right now?
Yeah, I think he's got 11 and a half.
11 and a half. So, hey, when you look at that, it looks great. But I think the running, stopping the run on the edge has been his issue, is being able to hold the edge. We expect a stray hand. We expect a stray hand out there, and we don't. We're not going to get a stray hand. We just need somebody to hold it down.
Yeah. Well, I remember. Look, first 5 minutes of the game, he stepped inside because he refuses to contain the edge, and it went right around the edge for 18 yards. Like he's still not even picking up his assignments. He still is an outside linebacker. You referenced Strahan. Strahan's in a 3-point stance, taking on a tackle. This cat is standing up, and he still can't contain the edge.
Yeah. Well, what's going to be interesting if Wink doesn't come back, and there is some problems there between Daboll and Wink, and who that next defensive coordinator. And let's see what happens if that happens, because that's going to be very interesting to see how they utilize an Ojulari and a Thibodeaux and Bobby Okereke. So, not that I want another change, but let's it's going to be interesting to see what the new defensive coordinator might do, because I think where there's, like they say, smoke, there's fire. I mean, this whole Wink Daboll thing could be coming to an end in a couple of weeks.
I think Wink's coming back, but I think the Giants are going to have to figure out, like, if Wink's coming back, he needs a legit pass rusher. Like, I think he's trying to figure out, like, using Kayvon in, because he's so athletic. Hey, I'll drop him in pass coverage and make a play.
Right.
I don't know if that's the best use of his skill set. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they want to make him like Carl Banks could do all that great stuff, so well, where Carl could drop or rush, play the run. But I'm just saying, the team needs like a run stopper on the outside, a guy that can contain the edge. So it's just really hard because, like, you want to like him. I do like him. I mean, I killed him a couple minutes ago for his theatrics, and I don't care. I'm just having some fun. But this team, just you're starting 3 of your starting 11 combined for 2 tackles. I don't know how you can do that. And I think Cole said it a couple minutes ago. McKinney, if your safety is your second leading tackler on the team, that's also a little bit of a concern too, because that shouldn't be happening either.
No, our safety position. No. Sean made a good point. Leslie Frazier, he visited the Giants this past summer, and they were going to hire him as the assistant to the defensive coordinator, and he didn't take the job. I don't know what happened, but that probably didn't sit well with Wink either. For Daboll bringing Leslie in to come watch, interview for camp to be on the defensive staff. So maybe there is something there between them, because that I'm sure didn't rub Wink the right way, bringing Leslie Frazier in for a possible job on the staff.
The other side of the coin is, like, you want to bring as much talent in the building as possible. So they're probably just figuring out, like, look, Leslie Frazier's no joke, right? I mean,
that's why.
If you can bring him in, you want to find a place for him. I'm sure they went to Wink first and say, hey, look, we could bring Leslie Frazier in here. He could be a big help. I just think, you're trying to get as much talent in the building as possible. And,
maybe.
But I don't know. I just wanted to get your thoughts on this Ojulari Tibbs thing, because we just can't win games unless they play. Like, you can't expect to win when your 2 defensive ends outside linebackers have 1 tackle between them. Crazy.
Yeah, the game looks a lot worse, for the fumble on the return, which gave us in the red zone, and it was a Goddard that slipped, for the pick 6. So the game looks good because it's 33-25, but take 14 off the board, it looks a lot worse.
Oh, and let's not forget to mention another huge punt return, because our special teams still suck. 54-yard punt return from the Eagles punt returner. And I got to say, our special teams, for the most part, still have problems, right? Like, we're letting balls hit us 2 weeks ago, right, on the punt, the kickoff. We still can't cover kicks.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be some changes.
Yep. And by the way, I just want to address Giants Chronicles podcast. Just say, where did you hear we were going to hire Leslie? It was reported he was just him visiting. Yeah, he was visiting.
You froze up, Chris. Yeah, he's.
But why is
Chris? You froze up.
He visited. Basically, I mean, there were spec that he was going to possibly interview.
Yeah. So, Chris, you're freezing up. So try that again. You were saying about why would he be in to visit? And then
I don't. Yeah, the Chronicles podcast just mentioned. Where did you hear they were going to hire Leslie? Not that they were going to hire Leslie, but he did come in for a visit, like they mentioned. But why is he coming in for a visit? Just to stop over and say hello to Dable? I mean, he was coming over to for a potential spot on the staff, whether that was as a coordinator or just as an assistant, not as a defensive coordinator, but as assistant to the coordinator. But there was that definitely raised a lot of eyebrows over the summer.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, that's all.
So, there's going to be some changes. There's no doubt going to be some changes. I think that, the Giants they didn't quit, and they're not quitting. I mean, they did. There are some guys out there that are working, right? Chris, give me a bunch of guys that you think are still working. Oh, you're all froze up again, Chris. There are guys.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Okay.
There you are, Chris. Okay. They're still working. There's no quit on this team, and they scored 20. They did score 25 points, regardless how they got them. Who do you like as like what did you see yesterday? Overall thought of the game.
I thought Bobby Okereke always comes to play. I think he played well. Deonte Banks with 6 tackles. I thought he played well. I thought overall the offensive line didn't do that bad of a job. I mean, they held them to 1 sack. And Tyrod Taylor played well. So, and Slayton, got to give Slayton some props. 3 catches or 4 catches for 90 yards. So, yeah, I mean, there was some good things. Yeah. There was some good things. I like the fight. They played. They fought to the end. I mean, it was 20-3. They could have really packed it in, but they continued to fight on. We didn't get embarrassed, which was, I hate to say it, but when you're a shitty team like the Giants, that's what you take away from it sometimes. Like, wow, we didn't get embarrassed. Forget about winning. We look at the
Chris is breaking up again. We keep losing him.
Against Philadelphia, so we didn't get embarrassed.
Nope, there you are. We keep losing you.
Yep. Yeah, what's going on? Sorry.
I don't know. Yeah, you're all froze up on me, but I can hear you audio though.
All right. Okay.
Oh, there you are.
Better off. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, all right. Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
So, regardless of what game we watch, right? We could be watching Tampa Bay, Kansas City. We could be watching the Colts. Doesn't matter what team we watch. The referees are atrocious. The calls are horrendous. There is no accountability to the refs. They come out and they collect their money, and that the plays. I can't even wrap my arm around some of these calls or non-calls, right? It has been a detriment to the game, and I tweeted out that the refs are going to do whatever they want to do, and sports gambling has ruined the game. And some of you ask, well, what do you mean about sports gambling? Because, it had nothing to do with the point spread and so forth. It's the overarching game. Like, you're not allowed to hit the quarterback. I mean, that kid from Pittsburgh got thrown out of the game for a textbook hit. If you guys haven't seen it yet, guy got suspended for a textbook hit. Like, they're taking the physicality out of the game. They're making the game more flag football-esque and casual. They're allowing you to gamble. So once a month you make some money. More money is flowing into the NFL, and they're giving you a less football product. So they're not going to change the game. They're not going to hold the refs accountable. They're going to let the game fold any way you want, because More people are spending money on the game. It's not about yesterday's point spread, win, loss, over, under. The overarching thing is that since sports betting came in, right, the game has changed because you can't bet on the game if Trevor Lawrence and Stroud and Mahomes, if they're hurt and not playing, that tanks all the betting. So they are just giving you a watered down product, and the refs aren't going to change. It's not a good product, but all the casual fans love it, right? Because they can just pay attention when they want. They win a couple bucks here and there, and they're happy. They don't want to see defense. No one wants to see defense. And I will tell you, I don't know why any high school kid or college kids plays defense anymore. You can't tackle, you can't hit, you can't do anything anymore. It's a penalty. Chris, did you see the Dane Belton penalty?
Yeah. There's so many of these kind of penalties. And that's why I suggest you get one flag. Call it a blue flag. You're allowed to challenge one play. That's usually not. Give yourself one. You're allowed one challenge of anything in the game. Maybe that'll help.
So,
but they, because
the
Wandell play, that's a play you're going to throw a flag and want to challenge that because that should have been a hold, pass interference downfield.
I mean, there are, for anyone who doesn't know, there are 7 refs on the field for every single NFL game. If you don't know this, refs are responsible for one part of the game. Right? So one ref is looking at the offensive line on this side of the field. There's a ref on this side that's looking at the offensive line on that side of the field. There's a line judge that's looking at the linebackers in the centers. Each ref has a portion of the game. They still get it wrong most of the time. And I've been told, Chris, that the refs don't want to overturn their calls because it's a ding on their record and they won't get good playoff games or on a playoff crew. So, again, back to the sports gambling. It's not about the game. They're giving you a watered-down product. Wandell, right? Mm-hmm. The fumble? Hurts fumble?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How about Schmitz with the head move? They said his head move, and Jalen Carter came off. That was ridiculous.
You gotta be freaking kidding me. 32 centers have a head bob.
And that was nothing. That was mild. That was mild. I mean, to be honest, it really was. But he does it all, all game.
32 centers, Chris, have a head bob. They look between their legs to make sure the quarterback's there. They snap the ball.
Craig, part of the problem is these guys, and people have said it before, is they're not full-time. They have regular jobs during the week. Yeah, they go over stuff, and they have their meetings. But, I mean, if you're working all week and you're not working your craft, whether it's in video or working on stuff, I mean, they should be in a facility full-time and just watching stuff and going over it and just, practicing and working as each team. I feel like these guys work their jobs all week and then they show up on, they fly out Saturday. They kind of haven't done anything all week other than since the last game on field. Maybe they need, with the technology and video, there's a lot of stuff they could be doing to get better at their jobs, get better at their craft.
And the fact that, as you just alluded to, these guys don't care because there's no accountability, right? They're not getting in trouble. They're not being held accountable. They make a bad call, and they're making them ad nauseam. So the bad teams, like the Giants, right, Arizonas of the world, you're going to get the bad crew. You're not going to get the crew with the most experience, with the best, whatever you want to call it, perfection rate. Mm-hmm. You're getting the leftovers, the scabs. And it's really hard to watch. And I think we were scrolling. Joe Z was talking about, I'm not talking about holding on every play. I get it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a Hurts fumble. I'm talking about, a JMS with the illegal procedure, which was garbage.
A late hit on a quarterback. That's not a late hit. We hate the Cowboys, but we saw a bad call on Parsons. He had the 2-step, and that was a clean hit, and they called him 15 yards. I mean, that could be a play that could be reviewable. Notice that it was 2 steps, and it should have been.
How about Dane Belton reaches over the shoulder pad? He is on the front of the shoulder pad and pulls down a tackle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to be kidding. Back to my point. If the sports gambling and all the money wasn't flowing in the way it was, they might have to do something about it. They might have to make the game better or make the game like football. But they don't, because the money is flowing in, Chris. The money is flowing in.
Yeah, but the only problem is, Craig, the more this continues, the more it becomes like the WWE with these calls or these non-calls. It's like the integrity of the Shield. You know, it almost has to. They have to show integrity to the NFL Shield and and clean this stuff up with the officials. And that's why I say, you know, if they can give them 2 extra flags, that, you know, you can challenge anything you want. Or New York has to step in. That's what they did with I think it was the XFL. Every call was reviewed by New York, and or by the head of officiating, which I think was Dean Blandino, who was with XFL, and they would review anything that seemed blatant and overturn it. So maybe, you know, maybe the crew itself won't overturn it because they don't want to make the other guy look bad, you know, because they're. But if it goes to the main office, they should be, you know, overturning maybe more and say, hey, that was a bad call, pretty obvious. She needs to be not reviewed, overturned.
So explain to me this. I've never seen this in football as long as I've been watching. And thank you, Sarah. I appreciate you letting me know. Here's what I don't understand. I literally had a glitch watching the game on the last drive. They didn't even broadcast the second and the third down play. Never even saw it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I see the replay that Waller catches a ball and goes down, kind of lays on the field, and then he kind of gets up.
He was banged up, yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. The ball is handed to someone on the sideline right there. It's either a ref or someone is saying it was a ball boy. And the clock is ticking, and no one is setting the ball. Saquon Barkley, the running back for the New York Giants, has to take the ball out of the official or ball boy's hands and bring the ball to the head lineman. Are you freaking kidding me? Chris, explain this to me.
Yeah, so it looked like the ball got to the official. He's standing there with the ball, not doing anything. Barkley, and there's the ball boy coming, the ball boy off the sideline. He's not sure who. He's trying to get that new ball to somebody. Nobody's taking it from him. Nobody's directing him. So at that point, Barkley grabs the ball from the official and runs it to the the linesman down at the line of scrimmage so they can spot it. But what is that official doing standing there holding the ball? Because you had 20 seconds on the clock when all this started to happen, and then they went down to 3.
And you're telling me the game ain't fixed? You're telling me that guy on the sidelines' job is not to run the ball to the head lineman?
It's incompetence. It's incompetence.
He's standing there. You know, like I wish I had a ball in here. He's standing there with a ball in his hand. Get the ball to the head lineman. You are telling me that game ain't fixed.
I don't believe that was fixed. I believe he was clueless, not knowing how much time was left on the clock, or if he did. Why isn't he getting the ball to the linesman at the line of scrimmage? Total incompetence. That guy should be totally reprimanded or fined. I mean, that was like a deer in headlights. He was standing there with the ball. Barkley, embarrassing for the league that the player had to get it out of the official's hands to get it to the referee or the linesman spotting it.
That's great job. First place to start. Embarrassing to the Shield. Embarrassing to the league that on Christmas, on a 4 o'clock game, that you have a ref with a game on the line doesn't know to give the ball to the head lineman. And what the right move would have been is to put the time back on the time, stop the clock, put the clock back on there. The ref cannot influence the game. And the ref not spotting the ball, influencing the game. The clock should have been stopped at 3, added 10 back on, because there was no reason why that the running back, the player, has to bring the ball from the sideline to the head ref.
Yeah, but you saw Bellinger and the other player, I forgot what the other one was, they were trying to help Waller up instead of taking the ball, which, because they knew he was hurt. But At that point, you would think an official would run in too and grab that ball. That's what I don't understand. You saw the guy laying down. You got to run in at that point and let them hand you the ball. I know maybe you physically can't take it away from the player, maybe, but you have to be right there to have them hand you that ball. Or maybe you do grab it. I just, for him to be standing there.
Or Waller needs to get his ass off the field.
Well, he was hurt, so, he tried to. He got up, but it would probably been better served if Bellinger or one of the other guys grabbed that ball and get it to the official instead of getting Bellinger up first and then getting the ball and then Barkley gets involved. But, yeah, it was just they should have had an extra play. You're looking at 2 plays right there. They lost out on a play. 2 shots to the end zone. 2 shots to the end zone.
I'm not buying it, man.
Yeah.
Refs, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying the fact that a sideline judge in an NFL game, this ain't the XFL, this ain't the NCAA, and it surely ain't my local high school team, that an NFL guy doesn't know that the clock is running and he needs to get the ball to the head lineman to spot the ball so the center can snap the ball. I find that so hard to believe because that's his job.
But it shouldn't surprise us, Craig. We see stupid stuff from these guys all the time. We see we see this
stuff. But that's different. There's stupid stuff is like, well, his hand was under the ball, not really. He was in the grass. This is the guy with this. There's 20 seconds left on the clock, and he's going to stand and.
Yeah.
Oh, you want this? It's not possible. It's not possible.
No. That was bad. It's a bad look, but you could see they didn't really talk about it much today. It wasn't much other than Giant fans. Other than Giant fans, you didn't see much talk about the NFL mention it.
Yeah, shout out to Thibodeaux, our friend Justin Pennick was breaking that down a little bit today, and they were a lot nicer than maybe that I'm being because it's pathetic that actually happened.
But 20 seconds.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. The NFL should be better. I love what you said about the integrity of the shield. That last series is the Wandale no pass interference when you basically run the dude over, right? The Belton, I don't even know what you want to call that. I mean, the guy just reached over and tackled him. Yeah. The fumble. It's just go ahead, please.
No, I was going to say another suggestion besides that, use the one flag and you can use it at any point on anything you want. Another thing I've heard proposed is inside 2 minutes, everything's reviewable. Maybe it's 3 minutes. It seems like a lot of inside 3 minutes, everything is reviewable. Maybe that helps because they should be able to, and not reviewable by the actual officials on the field, by New York. Because it's like the good old boys club. You got to overturn it. Maybe they don't want to overturn. Joe, they like Joe. It's too close to call. We're going to keep it. And that's what they, Well,
remember, these guys are a crew. They work together every week most of the
course.
time. You don't want to overturn Joe because Joe's on your crew, which goes against you. So you're not getting that playoff money.
We're human. Yeah. So let New York, overturn it. But maybe inside 3 minutes, everything's reviewable. And I'm not saying holdings on the offensive line because that happens all the time. But I'm saying the blatant stuff is reviewable. Pass interference, late hits, that sort of stuff. Blatant holds in the open field, something stupid like that maybe. But I don't know. Something's got to be done. These guys got to be full-time. They can't be working regular jobs 5 days a week and then showing up. That
costs owners money. And Goodell's not about
they're making
owners money.
Well, I'll tell you, with all the international games they're playing and all the marketing, they could afford it.
Okay, here's a wild card for you. You and I, we strike oil in my backyard. All of a sudden, I'm a billionaire. I got oil money, right? And we've parlayed this into the next expansion team. Where would we bring our expansion team? Where would be the next city? Where would be the 33rd? If they could have 17 games, they could have 33 teams. Where would the 33? Where would be the 33rd team? Where would we bring our oil team to?
I don't know where this is going.
I just want to know where you would think that we could bring.
This would be a strange one, but the St. Louis, I think, is really earning for their NFL team again. They lost the Rams and the Battlehawks who were in the XFL. They were like bringing 50,000 people to their games. I think, that's all they got. Like, it's not a big college. Missouri, I guess, is their college team maybe, but Yeah, but I think St. Louis, man, they seem like they're really earning for a team. I just from the looks of them showing up for the XFL games, 50,000 people in a stadium. You know, St. Louis had a long run with the Cardinals and then the Rams. So I don't know, maybe St. Louis.
All right, so
so
me and you were sitting in the boardroom of two people, and your vote's going to be St. Louis. That's your first place.
I don't know. I have to really think about it. I don't know where this is going. That's all right. What were you talking? You're on the spot. Oh man.
I'm gonna go Utah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Utah. If you know what I mean, like it seems like they deserve a shot, right? Now they don't have as densely populated area as St. Louis is, but St. Louis had their shot and they blew it.
But I think that was the owner, right? The owner wanted out. He's a LA guy.
Yeah. Why do you think the owner left? Because the town sucked, right?
They wouldn't build the stadium. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go Utah. That's what I'm going to go, because you could probably pull from Colorado and a little bit of Nevada. You know, you could pull from a couple places over there. You know, because New Mexico is always a place that was like an idea that was on the map. But I'm going to go Utah. We're going to go like with the I don't know what we're going to call our team, right? You know, I don't know what we're going to call our team, like maybe like the Gladiators, the Vipers. I don't know, but I'm thinking like we will be like the Salt Lake Scorpions or something like that.
There you go. All right.
Juan, we can't bring another team to Connecticut. It's too close. Like. You know what I mean? And you had the Whalers and you blew it, right? So we're not bringing you any more teams into Connecticut. Nothing against you, Connecticut folks. You're all very nice people. All right, so let's wrap this up with not a bad game. There was some goods that came out of yesterday with like Tyrod and Slayton and Okereke. We definitely now know who the Giants might move away from. We got the Rams. What do you want to see against the Rams and the Eagles? Like, is there anything that you're just saying, hey, I just want to see this to end the year? Like, is there something that's on your mind?
Yeah, I want them to see them play hard for 4 quarters, not pack it in, right? If they go down 14-0, still play hard and don't let that get to 30-0. Because once it gets to that point, it's going to be easy for them to just to give it up. I think from the start they're going to play hard, but I think if they go into a hole, that's where we're going to watch and see and say who's still playing out there, who's still fighting, and they're going to try and claw themselves back. Because if 14-0 turns into 30-0, it'd be pretty obvious that they're kind of packing it in maybe. But we'll see. Like you said, Ojulari, guys jogging on the side, not going to be a good look.
By the way, not to digress, my man Tuto dropping knowledge on us says that Utah has one of the most highest unemployment in financial breakdown. They'll go bankrupt. They might.
We're slashing prices, half-price tickets.
No. This is what's happening. We're coming to town, Tudo, and we're giving all those folks jobs, dude. We are literally coming to town. We're gonna employ 100,000 people,
and we're funding our own stadium. We're building. We're not taking tax dollars.
There you go. I would like to see, yes, of course, them to finish out strong. I'd like to see him give me a heavy dose of Barkley. I'd like to see Barkley, in the next 2 games, have 4 touchdowns and rush for 100 yards plus a game. I'd like to just see him finish strong and say, I told you I could do it. I can do it when I miss a couple games, and I could do it with this crappy-ass line you gave me. You know what I mean? I know he's more of a home run hitter, but I'd like to see Saquon – go out on top. He just, you look at all the stuff he does around the holidays and stuff. Yeah. He's just, he's a class act. I'd like to see Saquon, I don't care. Let Saquon throw the ball for all I care, but have some fun. Use him in the Wildcat. By the way, did we not have Barkley hand the ball off to Wandale 2 weeks ago?
We did. Yeah. Creative stuff. Yeah. Do some stuff like that.
Ready? So we're back to this again. Hey, that play worked. We're not using that anymore. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Why does it work and then we don't use it anymore?
Yeah, we went out and got Paris Campbell. He's invisible. We don't even see him doing anything.
Oh, Darius asked about that earlier. I did not look about yesterday, but the week before it's the first time in his career he had a healthy scratch.
Wow.
Yeah. So I hope that answers your question, Darius. 2 weeks ago, he was a healthy scratch. He was really disappointed. He definitely doesn't seem like he fits here. But guess what? That's what happens when you have a team full of B wide receivers. They're all doing the same thing. None of them are any different than the other one. They're just, like we don't, first of all, we don't throw the ball in the middle of the field. I want to draft a quarterback. I'm sadly, and I say this because I'd like to have some fun again, but like, I don't know if you can get May. I don't think, but I'd love them to have some balls and just go get them. You know what I mean? Just go have some balls and go get May, or draft out of the first round and come back and get Penix, or a high 2. Just go get them, right? And then somewhere McCarthy somehow I can't. And listen, you know me, I'm a Michigan State guy, not a University of Michigan guy, but something about McCarthy intrigues me. Not really quite sure yet why. Like, I like his tape better than I thought I would. But the Giants need a quarterback. They're gonna have to draft one. It's just a fact.
Yep.
Chris, you going to this Eagles game coming up?
The last game is up in the air yet. Let's see the weather forecast. I'm gonna wait on that. And I have a feeling, man, that's gonna be a game. Obviously, the Eagles are gonna need. I know this is weird, man. I wouldn't be surprised the Giants win that game. I just feel it. Last game of the year.
Why do you think the Eagles need it?
Well, right now they are in the driver's seat for the home field, right? Because
they're top the NFC, and I think they have the tiebreaker too with Dallas, don't they?
Yeah, I believe they do it. Yes, they have the tiebreaker.
I don't see what.
Let's say they lose. Let's say they lose. Let's say they lose on Sunday. This Sunday.
They lose this Sunday. Who do the Eagles play this weekend?
Do they play? They don't play Washington, do they? No.
No, I don't think so. But I'll look it up. Somebody in the comments will tell us, guys.
Yeah, we gotta know
who's the Eagles playing this week. I'm looking it up now just in case. By the way, just so you know.
That's God, they play the Cardinals? Jeez. No, that's not good.
No. Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
So, real quick,
Never mind.
Snap counts, Chris. Bredesen, JMS, Phillips, Thomas, all played 100%. Pugh came out for 2 because he hurt his arm. He came out for 2 snaps. They taped him up, send him back in. I like to see Pugh sticking up for his guys too. So I saw him mixing it up a little bit. Wan'Dale Robinson got 45 snaps. They got to, if we're going to put him out there for 71% of the snaps, they got to get him the ball.
Yeah. I think if Tyrod was in there the first half, we would have saw more from him, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like guys like Shepard got 1 snap.
Yeah.
Hodgins got 27 snaps. I don't know. It's odd, as Cole said, as Shawnee said before. And yeah, I'm going to Utah and I'm giving out jobs. That's what I'm doing. I have to get the oil out of my backyard first.
Yep.
All right, so we're gonna do. I guess Spartan and Truth are gonna do the review show tomorrow.
Okay.
Go over the Ram game. Rams can't. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. Rams can be beat. Chris, you think the Rams can be beat?
Yeah, I think the Giants will hang in there. They're playing well, but I think at home, the Rams coming from the West Coast, going to be cold. I think leaving the Eagle game, not that they were, listen, they lost, but I think they didn't lose confidence leaving that game. I think there's no reason why they can't hang with the Rams, even though they're playing really well. I think they can hang with them at home.
Did you see Dable come out on the press conference? Man, he was steamed.
Yeah, he was, man. Yeah, a lot of it had to do with the officiating.
He was out of breath.
Yeah. Well, he's been through a lot of this year. The guy's been through a lot. He's at his limit, I think, at this point, ready for the season to be done, like the rest of us. So,
yeah.
But
yeah, I just want, like I said, I just want the Giants to do one of 2 things: either go and get the quarterback you want, or which again, I don't really care what anybody says anymore. I am absolutely tired of free agents because it's just somebody else's high-paid or overpaid trash because you didn't want them, and then, or someone else's headache. Just trade for the absolute best guard you can find. Shane's job.
I'm with you.
Shane's job should be finding a partner who says, I'm drafting a guard in the first round. I'll trade you this guard. I don't care. I just don't care anymore. We can't do. We hope this guy can be coached up, or we can. Oh, whoa! One person says Zudu. I'm throwing out my laptop out the window. Just go trade. We had Zeitler and we gave him away. Go.
Who's a free agent, by the way? Would you take him back?
Yes, of course I would. Let him compete with the other foreign numbskulls that can't do anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Put him in there with Bredesen and Lemieux and Azudu. Let them battle it out. Go get me a right guard who's a masher, and I don't care where you get him from. Green Bay, the Colts, I don't care. I don't care anymore. Just give up the draft picks, because guess what? What? The guys you're drafting aren't any better. We drafting these guys that don't play. They're bums. Just trade the picks and go trade for the best guard you could find. That's it. That's all I want. That's what I want for Christmas. I want a guard that plays guard, that's an all-pro guard, that maybe he's a little bit older, but the dude can play.
Well, Kevin Zeitler might be that guy. Come back, and then you draft one guard.
He's not that much of an upgrade, though. He's an upgrade.
You don't think?
He was already here. How bad was our line when he was here?
But by all accounts, he did a pretty good job. The other part, Hernandez was an issue in the tackles. But
yes, like I said, he's good.
Yeah,
right. He's good, but he's not. I want them to give up what's necessary to get an A level guard.
The only problem is, Craig, I don't know if teams are going to give up. They have a guard that's an A level. Why are they going to give them up? They're in the same situation then as us, so you want to keep those guys.
You know what? I guarantee Howie Roseman could figure it out.
Howie Roseman works great deals. You're right, but I think the likely road will be a free agent, solid guard. I'm not saying a Pro Bowler, and then they draft in the second round. They get a guard, which is fine. I think if they get a solid veteran at guard and then draft a guard.
But we always think they're solid. We always think they're solid, and they suck.
But the tackle position's been the problem. The guard spot, we've actually been pretty good with guys coming from other teams. When you look at Zeitler was all right. There was I remember a few years ago, the guy from the Rams came over, and he was actually pretty good. Forget his name, but
yes.
You know what I mean?
Wait, hang on.
He came out of nowhere. They picked him up during the Gettleman era.
He was enormous.
Yeah, he did well. He played guard.
Was it Brown?
Brown? I think yes. Oh my God, good call on that. Holy cow, you remember that name? Yes, and everybody wanted to re-sign him, and he left too. But yeah, they could find him.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us for another episode of Giants Rush. It's of course on all your platforms: Apple Pods, Spotify. That'll be up there in the morning when I get a chance to pop that sucker up there. Tell your friends that we're here. Spread the word to your Giant fans. Tell them that you like what we do. Fluker too, right? Fluker was a pretty good.
Oh yeah, that was Fluker. Yeah, he was converted tackle the guard and played well at guard.
As a pound for Shawnee B on that one. That was him.
And by the way, Evan Neal may be on that same road from drafting as a tackle the guard, because that's Fluker. Big guy too, built like a tackle, but he played better at guard. Could be Neal.
Yeah, just move him over. Who cares? I mean, I'm so tired of all the shenanigans. Just do what's right, But thanks for tuning in. These guys, because I give them the reins to it. So the Rush Hour will be live tomorrow. I think it's Spartan Mike and Truth pretty much going to go over the upcoming Rams game. NYGiantsRush.com's got some articles up there, our interviews. Still working on a couple of interviews for you guys to end the season out. Most of these guys are just like, to be honest with you, we tell you what the players tell us. And what they're telling me right now is, you know what, Craig, I'd love to do it. Hit me up in spring. They're done too. They've worked a lot, and they're tired too. What's this? Oh, wait, we got breaking news here from Joe D. Let's pop this up on here. It says, Craig, me and Spartan in the
That's awesome. All right, Joe. All right. Good job.
All right. So let's Joe is definitely an OG here. Joe, you gotta win, because I cannot give, I have a great grand prize. So everybody who, we do fantasy football here. First time we've ever done it, the Rush Fantasy Ballers League. And we had some really great participants this year. And for whatever reason, you guys let Spartan Mike win most of his games. So I really, everybody out there root for Joe that Joe takes down Spartan Mike, because I can't give Spartan Mike the first prize. So that would mean I'd have to come up with another contest to give away this first round prize. So Joe, I am rooting for you. If you need me to drive to Chicago and run over Spartan Mike so we can't put his team in, let me know. Thanks for everybody. Again, the only things we ask for is subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you've done it, which most of you have, tell a friend so we can get those subscribers up. That helps us out. Instagram, NYGiants_rush. Follow us there. I don't put too much up on there, but I try to put some stuff up on there. Make sure you're following the team. And we'll see you guys next Monday. And we're going to work on some stuff. If you want to see more of these guys, check them out tomorrow. All right, boys. Peace out. Thanks for hearing. And Sarah, by the way, who tuned in. So thank you, folks. We'll see you guys soon. Peace out.